Good morning, or it's almost afternoon. Um, but yeah, good morning. I'm sitting here drinking my coffee, so it still feels like morning to me, even though we're about a half an hour away from noon. And yeah, this is kind of unexpected, at least for me, because I made the decision last night to not do a premiere for part four of my kind of throwback reactions to the phone calls from prison with Ernesto Williams. I decided to go live. I really honestly did not like the premiere format. It's not that it was bad. It wasn't bad at all. Definitely wasn't bad at all. But I wasn't. I felt kind of constrained with that, so I said, you know what, just go live. And I looked at the call that I was going to do, and the call that I am doing today is it's roughly a 10-minute call. If you add phone calls from prison, to the front of that, or the commentary, it's a 12-minute video, so it's not that long. So I picked some other topics to talk about today. So um last night, actually last evening, I was doing what I normally do, kind of just looking, I guess you could say, just kind of um clicking around in YouTube. You know how it is. You start one place and you end up in another. And I happened upon a Judge Stephanie Boyd video, and I've watched her videos before, so I thought I'd add that to the roster. And then I said, you know what? Let's just make it a three, an uneven three. And so with that uneven three, I came up with I call it stupid criminal or dumb criminal of the day, kind of a thing. So I'm trying to figure this out. I see Lady T Bug and Latoya are here. Thank you, ladies, for showing up. Showing up. I honestly, Lady T Bug, the problem with the premiere is not so much, setting it up. Actually, it was pretty easy. But the problem for me personally is that I like chatting, you know that, but I also like interacting. And when you do the premiere, yeah, I can interact with you guys, in the comments, but there's so much left on the table, in my opinion. There's so much more that I want to say. There's so much more that I feel like, you can clearly see where you've missed, something. And probably the biggest thing for me is I hate the sound of my voice. So I have to sit there and listen to my voice. At least on live, I don't really have to listen to. I mean, I'm listening to myself obviously because I'm talking. But in any event, I thought I would just do it as a live because, one, like you said, practice makes perfect. So I said, what better way to do it than to just jump on here? And then another thing is, I actually set it up for 10 a.m. And see, I missed it yesterday. And I basically missed the 10 a.m. deadline today. And I pushed it back to 11:30 because I'm a night owl. I have been working third shift for almost 10 years before I stopped. So my body has not adjusted to uh being up early. And early for me, 10 is early for me. I'm usually not in bed until maybe about 4 or 5 in the morning. I used to get off at 3 o'clock in the morning. And again, I did that for 10 years. And prior to that, I've always worked shift work. And I always end up on third shift. I've always been a night owl. There's a lot of background noise. Hmm. What does it sound like? Because it's just me in this room. So let me hmm. I don't know what it could be. I'm gonna mute my mic and tell me, do you hear anything? Okay, so it was on your end. And Lady T Bug and Latoya, I don't know if I don't, do you have a channel, Latoya? Because you should see my setup. I wish I could show you, because what I did was, a Lady T Bug. I'm in my of course, I'm in my StreamYard screen. I have it on the comments, but I also have a video teed up. Of course, when you present and you share your screen. Well, I didn't want to flip back between tabs, so what I did, I use Edge, and Edge allows you to actually split your screen. So I have it's like half of my screen is showing YouTube right now, and the other half is showing StreamYard. So that way I don't have to flip back and forth. But what I'm thinking I'll probably end up doing, if this is something that I get used to doing and I decide I like doing this, I will probably end up getting a desktop and just getting a big monitor. Because in my other job, when I was my last job, I was a dispatcher. Hey Vicky, hey, thank you for joining us, lady. Um, and my other when I was a dispatcher, I had gosh, did I have I think I had about 8 monitors that I had to look at. So I'm used to working with multiple monitors. So I want to be able to have literally, one of those big concave monitors. I can add a monitor to a desktop, but I don't like that setup. Sorry, not to a desktop, but to a laptop. I don't like that setup. Hey, I said what I said. The gang is all here. Yeah, Vicky. It's kind of intimidating. I'm a little bit more comfortable. Like the meter moves a little bit each time I do it. I feel a little bit more comfortable, but not quite comfortable because it's just me. It's just me. And it's like, okay, I gotta, figure this out. But I thank you, ladies, for coming because I've done some test runs and nobody showed up, of course, because I didn't tell anybody. And I have a test channel that I kind of run in the background, nobody knows about. And it's awkward trying to do it by yourself. But I'm thinking of getting a desktop because nowadays you can get a desktop a lot cheaper than you can get a freaking laptop. So that's what I think my next move would be if I decide to continue to today. Today, well, let's just start out first of all. Um, Before I came on here, I have ADD, so I was down the rabbit hole, and you'll never guess what I was sitting here watching before I looked at the clock, and it was like, oh, you got 5 minutes. I was watching YouTube videos about Hiroshima, the atomic bomb, Oppenheimer. That's how my brain works. I have always been a nerd, and I was so interested in it. I'm like, goodness, I was like, darn it, why did I start watching this? I have to go live. So here I am, literally watching old war footage and survivor stories and getting all emotional. And I'm supposed to be, jumping on live to talk about Ernest Williams. It kind of puts everything into perspective. So that's what I was doing before I came on live. Again, I made sure I had my coffee because I don't move without my coffee. I just can't function. I gotta have a cup of coffee. So, ladies, believe me, I'm never up at 11:30 usually, and I decided to do it this way because I wanted to force myself to enter the world of the living. You know, I basically retired myself, and it's coming up on a year, and I realized that it's time to get moving. I kind of just relaxed. I've kind of decompressed. I've kind of enjoyed just, my day being whatever I want it to be. And I gave myself I gave myself a time schedule. I said, you can sit back, you can relax. And I think we've already talked about it. Hey, pure intention. But I made the decision, and I carefully mapped it out. I knew like what the landscape would look like if I walked away from my job, but I was tired. I was tired mentally. I was tired. And I felt like I owed it to myself. So my birthday's in July. I'm a Leo too, Lady T Bug. I am a July Leo. Okay. July 26th. And I say, you know what? Do something big, do something you've never done before, take a risk. And I did. Now, honestly, I have solo traveled before, but like little short trips, especially when I was in my 20s. The first place I ever went by myself was Atlanta, Georgia. And that's back in the heyday of Atlanta. This was back in the early 90s. But I decided to go to Southeast Asia. I said, why not? I always wanted to go to Thailand. So I booked a trip to Thailand and I went to Thailand. I left on January. I left on July the 6th and I got there on July the 8th. It was almost a day and a half of travel. And man, Was it a day? I mean, it was exciting because I was going somewhere new and completely on the other side of the world. But I left and I didn't come back until the end of July. I spent a whole month in Thailand, in Bangkok. So that was one of the things that I wanted to do, and then coming back and just kind of, like I said, trying to fill out what I wanted to do. What was the next phase of my life? You got to understand, I only affect myself, and I know that you know, I felt like I was doing it responsibly, and I still do. But almost a year later of walking away from that career, I always knew that, you know, I wanted to do something on my own, something independent. So that's what I've been working on and pressing and doing behind the scenes. Um, so right now I am still in a good spot, but YouTube has kind of got me in a chokehold. And it's not even about this Ernesto stuff because I was already kind of a spectator here on YouTube and I have been for many years, and it kind of took off during the C-19 during that time. And believe it or not, even the job that I have that was in emergency services, we had a lot of downtime and we had a lot of freedom. And, you know, I consumed a lot of YouTube. It basically took over as my TV. So, you know, I started thinking about, well, why don't you start a channel? And it's been a struggle because once I decided to start a channel, and I've talked about this a little bit, um, that I don't know what I wanted my channel to focus on because I didn't want to give this channel up. I do have another channel. I did say I have a backup channel, but that's my test channel. But I do have another channel where I'm actually going to talk about entrepreneurship, and I call myself an entrepreneur, AUNT-preneur. Okay. Um, but this channel, I just couldn't give up on. I couldn't. So here I am rambling. Hey, Rainbow, Vicky. I'm reading your comment, and this is so awkward. Man, it's so awkward. I see now why when they read back the comments, how it's a little bit of a struggle. Says, girl, I'm going down to City Hall to make these people give me a passport today. I'm proud of you. I really want to do the Philippines and Greece just for the food. You know what? The Philippines is honestly is on my list because I do want to go back. I do want to go back. I felt like the first time around it was kind of overwhelming in a sense. Um, but now I know the lay of the land. There's some other things that I want to do over there, and one of them I could have went to the Philippines because it's just right over there. Um, I got acclimated to just being not really other because, you know, a lot of people say when they travel to Asia, especially being a black or a brown person, um, they say that, you know, there's people stare at you and all that good stuff. But let me tell you something, the people in Thailand are very friendly, and I did not get a lot of stares. They were amazed that I was coming all the way from the United States. I thought more Americans had visited the country or they saw more Americans, but they didn't. And actually, um, what you saw a lot of was Chinese. There was a lot of Chinese. Well, anyway, Thailand is heavily influenced by Chinese culture anyway. So there was a lot of Chinese, there was a lot of Koreans. There was basically a lot of Southeast Asians. I mean, that's their side of the world, so it makes sense. But as far as being stared at or being or feeling uncomfortable, I didn't. A lot of stuff was in English. A lot of people spoke enough English. You could learn a few Thai phrases. But one thing I will say that stood out, I the heat there, it is hot. It is hot, hot. The coolest part of the day is probably like 5 o'clock in the morning, but as soon as they hit around 6:30, you're already up in the 80s. And then after that, you're in the high 90s and it's humid and it's very moist, very moist. So, gosh, let's see. Like I said, this whole YouTube thing is still something I'm trying to get a grasp of. But I realized, and we talked about this a little bit when we were all on the panel. It's just about being yourself, and I don't know why I'm like nervous. You would think that I was sitting in front of an auditorium of people, and I know all you ladies coming in. Hey, Shan, I see you done snuck in here. So, let me just go ahead and get started this video because I feel like I'm rambling and I'm sitting here just like, you just don't know. Lady T Bug, I don't know. In your first couple of lives, how did you feel? because I feel so freaking awkward. But again, I rather do this honestly than do the whole premiere. So the video that I want to start out with today is, well, phone calls from prison calls it part 4. It says Shirley and Ernesto jail calls. Police take Shirley's truck. So let's just see how quick I am now transitioning from the screens. I think I'm pretty comfortable with like sharing screens and doing all that stuff, but just kind of getting into a flow of stuff. Just bear with me, you guys. Just bear with me. So let's go ahead. Let me go ahead and um, get the video started. Give us something else to talk about besides me. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, of course. Let me set this up. It's always a process. Okay, so now I have the screen the way I want it. Okay.
I'm in the process of working on more calls, but I quickly wanted to share clips from this one particular call. In this call, Shirley states that her truck was taken by investigators while trying to leave the beauty shop. She says the police are also taking her wedding ring and that her
Thank you,
signature
Vicky.
was
I
wrong in the
appreciate that.
documents, and the cops
I'm waiting for
think
you
that
to
some of
start
them were
your
forged.
station head.
Shirley goes on to ask why they're taking her truck and was told that it will possibly be used to pay back the victims. Take a listen to how Shirley Strawberry responds to the whole situation that played out.
How's your day going?
Well, it was going okay. The police picked up my truck today.
What truck?
What do you mean, what
You talking
truck?
about your white truck?
Yeah,
What?
yeah.
Why would they do that?
They said it's being used in the investigation.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
What?
yeah. They came to the salon where I was, and um, waited outside for me. When I got ready to go, they blocked me in, and it was a tow truck there, a flatbed, and they put the truck on the flatbed.
What?
And they offered me a ride home, and I told them no, of course not. And thank God the lady that does my hair brought me home.
What kind of shit is that?
Well, that's what they said. They said, I asked them, do they have any proof? I said, what are you guys doing? Why are you taking my truck? Because it's being used in an investigation. Um, do you have any proof? What are you talking about? Yes, we have proof. I mean, no, we don't have proof. We have probable cause. um, and that can lead to proof. Sheridan came. Your daughter Sheridan came in. I mean, they didn't say that right away. I'm just trying to tell you all the stuff. It's out of order. They said that there are a lot of papers with my name on them. My signature probably has been forged. Um,
Wait a minute,
Sheridan
wait a
came.
minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. I'm confused what you're
Oh,
saying.
come on, honey. Come on, come
No, no,
on.
no, no, no,
What?
no, 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 no. Hold on, hold on. I'm trying to understand. Where were you at?
I told you I was at the beauty shop, and the beauty shop
Where's
is
the where's the
it's in
beauty stop at?
Roswell. It's in Roswell, the same one I've been going to,
What?
and the same officer that arrested you was there, Officer Fields, the little white lady.
That's what it is. Wow. How did they know where your business line was?
I guess they've been following me. I don't know. I can't tell you that. I don't know.
Wow.
Of course, I have it on mute. Rookie mistake number one. But what I was saying is, this is the part that always cracks me up because I can just hear friends saying um, that whole thing about the booty salon, the way Nesto says it. Um, and you're right, Latoya. He's playing dumb, like he didn't know what truck she was talking about. Also, she had told him she was at the beauty salon. He just that's when we got all the wilds and the whats and all the other crazy stuff. And in the beginning, we couldn't. really understand his the cadence of his speaking. We now know his mush mouthery, so it is hilarious. It is. It's absolutely hilarious. So I had to pause right there.
Yeah. I mean, they said they were going to come and get it from over here, but but it just my car came up on the radar, the license plate that it was in Roswell.
Wow.
Yeah. So I
Wow.
don't have a. And I said, well, what are you going to do with my truck? What does my truck have to do with this? They said it's for the victims. They needed to pay back the victims, some of the victims, and whoever
What?
this.
What? Ain't no. They're lying.
Well, I'm just telling you what they told me, honey. I don't. I mean, I assume that this woman is setting you up or sets you up or whatever, but I assume that.
Wow.
Vicky, you know what? No, I did not meet any con artists like Nesto when I was patrolling. But I did know of I call him a junior Nesto. I guess you could say we dated on and off for quite a few years in my late 20s. He was doing the same kind of stuff. I'll never forget that one day he stopped by my house and he was asking me because at the time I had a desktop computer and he was asking me if I could type up something for him. And I'm thinking that he had something and I had a printer, of course, that he had something he just wanted me to, that he had printed out and he wanted me to type up. So when I see what he's asking, well, he tells me that he needs a letter showing that he had utilities in his name or something, or in somebody else's name. And I'm like, well, why do you need this typed up? And he was like, I'm trying to help a friend out. And I'm like, well, I don't know what, that doesn't sound right to me because I've always been like, I would say a goody two shoes. And on top of that, he was asking, could I even put like the utility company's letterhead on it? I'm like, no, I don't know how to do all of that. But later, come to find out, especially back during like the late '90s, the mid to late '90s, I don't know what was going on in the mortgage industry, but he was working with some people and they were basically getting people with bad credit scores into homes and he was using false documents. Sounds familiar. And also he had a criminal history. Yeah, I was young, but he was young too when he got in trouble. Um, but he seemed to come across. He was very charming, and at the time, I wasn't really trying to be serious about him. But that's the kind of stuff he was doing. He was doing like a lot of paper fraud, and he was always, driving fancy cars and living in these nice houses, trying to give the impression that it was all his money, but basically he was just a paper criminal. And yeah, so he was a budding nesto. But back to this call, you notice because I talked a little bit, but she says, I don't know if that lady is trying to set you up. I'm thinking she's talking about Erica because of course he doesn't know who Erica is. So that's what I'm thinking he's talking about. But also too, because again, this is a short call, listen to it. It gets very interesting. They start to talk about Officer Fields and the repo of the G wagon.
So that's all I can tell you is what happened to me today,
Hey,
and
Lola.
I don't have a car to drive. So and they said they're going to get my wedding ring too.
What are you talking about?
Why do you say why when I tell you something? Why do you say that? Because I'm just telling you what they told me. They said they're going to come and get it. I got it from Danielle Diamonds, and the $20,000 that she put on that, they're going to get the
Stop
ring
talking.
too.
Stop talking. Stop talking. Stop talking on the phone. Stop talking on the phone.
Okay,
Yeah, stop. I'll just stop talking about this because all this bullshit.
that's what they told me.
Right. I understand it.
Yeah, yeah, but
Wow.
it wasn't a great day for me either.
That was a that was a bad, bad, bad day. Wow.
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
a bad
So
day.
I mean, they let me get my stuff out. I don't know. they just, I just really think they're just trying to keep this investigation open in hopes that they'll find something, to keep you or something. It's like they don't have anything. They don't have anything. I know they don't.
How would Shirley know she won't talk to the people?
I'm so sorry that happened to you today. I
Oh, it's
really,
okay. It's all
not,
right. I mean, it's just okay. There ain't nothing we can do about it. Apparently they're really after you. They think you're some sort of big, I don't know, I don't know. You know,
I understand.
yeah, they're just really trying to stick it to you. That's what it seems like.
Yeah, I see that.
I
Yeah.
Oh,
turned
and
up
they
the
mentioned the
volume on my
Bentley.
end.
They said
I didn't know if it was
the
low for you
something, I
guys.
can't remember exactly what they said about the Bentley. They mentioned the Bentley, that was part of the investigation. My truck, because they're trying to confiscate all.
Okay, so some of you ladies are more knowledgeable than me because even early on, even though I was watching these early on, I didn't catch a lot. So I still don't know. Did he own the Bentleys? Was the Bentleys in his name? And were those like confiscated too? Because I know if you go through his IG, the one that they took down, but he was always in some car, and there were Bentleys in those videos. So what was up with the Bentleys?
your assets, I guess. So they said, we're trying to pay the victims. We're trying to pay the victims.
It ain't no victim. What it is, they're trying to hold on to your stuff. And first of all, I'm not going to talk on the phone because they listening to everything you say. So
Yeah,
I'm not trying to do that, and I know what it is. So I'm not going to get all that on the phone.
yeah, okay.
But I understand what you're saying. Wow, damn. I'm
Yeah,
so sorry that happened.
I know. It's okay. It's okay.
Boy, look at here. Wow, wow,
Yeah,
wow, 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 wow.
yeah. I mean, it just hurts my heart that they think you're some sort of monster. You don't know who he is. You don't know who he is.
What?
Yeah. It's like they keep adding charges and adding charges, adding, you know. The longer you're in there, the more charges they add.
Right. Well, they have to do that to keep me. They add and take off, add and take off, add and take off.
Yeah.
That's what they've been doing. And then when they get in the courtroom, it gets so confusing. Wow. Damn. I can imagine how that was with all them folks around you like that. Wow.
Yeah. But I
Dang.
mean, I just faced it head on. It's like nothing I could do.
What a day today for you. That's
Yeah, well, yeah, there's nothing
Another
I
one
could
of
do
his
about it.
famous one-liners.
wow.
I just came out and said, "What is going on here?" Because they had the police car, backed in, blocking me in. I couldn't get out. Even if I wanted to get out, I couldn't get out.
Wow.
Hmm.
Wow. Okay then.
And they said, "Oh, we'll take you home. We'll give you a ride home. Where you live with Tasha and they said all that.
What?
Yeah. Well, it's just like, yeah, they're just really trying to discredit you. You have no idea who your husband is, who you're married to. I told them, I said, the person you're talking about is not the man I'm married to. Oh, you have no idea who your husband is. And, it's just trying to discredit you and just, you know,
I understand. I
yeah,
get
I'm
it.
so sorry. I'm so sorry. They always try to pretend like they're your friends.
Oh,
So you tell
yeah.
them, they think, slip up and tell them stuff.
Wow.
Well, you can sit down and talk to us, but get a lawyer and come and sit down and talk to us.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
But it's
Uh,
like, why would I do that when you all are trying to make him out to be some kind of monster, you know?
Wow. Well, my life, my life.
Yeah, and mine.
You notice, as usual, how he's only focused on what's going on with him. He talks about my life. Shirley had to say, my life too. And what I gather now, listening to this again, is that of course Shirley wasn't going down to talk to them. That's number one. And number two, just like you all were saying in the comments, that they were telling her she doesn't know who she's married to, and trying to make him out to be a monster. And we know Shirley, I call her an ostrich. We call Sonya a hen. Well, Shirley's an ostrich because she just buried her head in the sand. And I don't think it was so much she didn't know who she was married to, she didn't want to know. I mean, all the signs were there. She knew who he was. She knew exactly, who she married. And as long as everything was kept away from her or her hands were kept clean, she didn't have a care. She had the diamond ring, she had the G-Wagon, she had the big house. She had all the trappings of everything that made it look like that she was an upstanding citizen. So to her, everything was fine. And also too, like I said, she wasn't going down there and talking to those people. So they knew when they got her at the beauty salon. That's why Officer Fields was there. They wanted to talk to Shirley. And so that was their chance to kind of put some information in her ear about what was actually going on. So I'm pretty sure Officer Fields told her many things that she wasn't aware of as they were hooking up the G-Wagon. But Shirley is playing, she's good again at playing dumb. So that's where Nesto's wheels are turning. And that's why he's saying his life, because he knows at this point the jig is up. Shirley hasn't caught on, or she hasn't given up the ghost yet. Basically, she hasn't given up on him, but clearly he knows everything is unraveling at this point.
Oh man, I tell you. Damn, it seems like this shit is a movie to me. It's just unreal. It's
I
like,
know, I know, but it's like, I get what you're saying about the past. They're trying to, just because, you did time in the past, people change all the time. People change. They're trying to hold you, for the mistakes you made when you were young. That's not right, and it's not fair. It's just not right, you know.
no, it ain't. No, it's not.
They're trying to make it seem like I'm some unsuspecting wife that doesn't know, that her husband is, this terrible person.
What?
Mhm.
Wow.
I feel so
Damn.
sad.
I just feel sad that that shit embarrassing. All of that.
Yep.
You know,
It's,
I'm just wow.
it's embarrassing, humiliating. It's everything. Well, everybody that's I guess ever been in your circle, they've contacted.
What?
Yeah, I think so. They've contacted a lot of people. Because when they did the story, they put out if you know him or whatever, if you know anything about this case, call us or contact us. And people contacted them. They said,
Oh, okay. Well, that's fine. Because
yeah,
I
I
don't.
mean,
Yeah, I mean
huh?
everybody know me, so who ain't? Everybody think I got money because they told me I took $1 million. I don't know where I'm gonna take $1 million from. That
Yeah,
don't
and
make no sense.
you don't have no $1 million in the bank. You don't have no $1 million lifestyle. We don't even have a house anymore.
So what I'm saying is that all that's fine. They say anything to get to you, but I'm not gonna let them get to me. So
No, I just
I'm just
don't. I just don't know what's coming up. But
well.
God does, and I trust Him. That's all I can say.
After this conversation, Ernesto immediately calls the woman in Florida to tell her about everything that happened. He goes on to call her 3 more times that day before he talks to Shirley again on the following day. Be on the lookout for the next video, which will include Shirley and Ernesto talking about Steve Harvey and his wife Marjorie. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss it.
Okay. It was funny because Shirley said at the end of that call she don't know what's coming next, and boy, did she not know what was coming next. So my takeaway from this call, listening to it again, is that this is actually, I don't think at the time phone calls from prison had no way of knowing how important these calls were. And honestly, the genius in these calls to me is that the way that she rolled them out. I don't think that obviously she hadn't listened to a lot of them. Shay hadn't listened to a lot of them, but it does paint a story because early on it kind of left us wondering what was next too. Of course, we knew what the complaints had said. Like I said yesterday, I do believe that Fran or even Pam, I think at this point had already showed his hearing, so we knew kind of the baseline of what was going on outside of the news story of all of this. But yeah, this is the one where Shirley's truck is taken, and we get all the wows and the whats and the disbelief from Nesto, and we know good and darn well that he knew exactly what was going on. To me, his whole attitude was that he was basically being outed, and he couldn't control the narrative. He was starting to lose control of the narrative. So this call says a lot. It's to me, it's a short call because we're so used to the calls being a little longer. But I think with Global Tel, the calls are only like, I think they're 15-minute calls, and of course we know the face to face or the video visits are a half an hour, and later on she starts to piece them together. So we'll get back to back calls. But at this point, she was just getting through the calls. So we do know the next call, and she does call it part five. At this point, she was doing them in parts. Was when the famous call where she talks about Marjorie. They talk about Steve and Marjorie, which really kind of set this whole saga into the stratosphere. So for me personally, it's nice re-listening to them. Number one, I'm well versed in Anestoese, so we clearly understand what he's saying. And now we're to the point we're almost experts on him, and we can hear the tension, we can hear the stress, we can hear the disbelief, but we also know where it's coming from. We're not fooled. We're not fooled at all. And like I said early on, we just wanted the juicy bits. And of course, we was just trying to figure out what Shirley knew, what she didn't know, and we were in disbelief that she didn't know, or she was claiming not to know what was going on. So this was a interesting little call. I thought about doing part five, and just doing them back to back because they were short calls. But like I said at the beginning, I decided to kind of go in a different direction because we don't know how long this saga is going to last. And I'm not just trying to build a channel based off of these calls with Shirley and Ernesto. It's this channel is more about what I watch and what I like to see and talk about, and I want to do that with people who like to watch and talk about the same things I like to watch and talk about. So I do want to make sure that I kind of open up my platform, so that when people come in to watch a live or to watch a video, they're not just expecting Nesto content, because we're kind of analyzing it because it's like I said, it's an ongoing soap opera. To me, it's a modern day soap opera. And by the way, and I don't want to get off topic, so read Latoya's comment real quick. It says Shirley should have went and found out what was going on. I don't think she. Well, we all know that she did not want to know what was going on, because then she would have to admit to herself what kind of a mess she was in. And there are points in my life that I can clearly remember actively avoiding situations. But I also came to a point in my life when I realized that you have to just meet them head on. You can't just stick your head in the sand. You can't just pretend like nothing's going on. You have to deal with it. And that's a part of maturing. And I think that too is part of the problem that we have with Shirley. So Latoya, you bring up a very good point, and that she should have went and found out what was going on because someone of her age, I believe at this time when he was locked up in 2022, what Shirley was just shy of 70. So what was she like 67, 68? She's old enough to know better. She should have went down there to find out. And I do believe that Officer Fields filled her in. But Shirley is used to keeping stuff close to the vest. So I think that she was hearing it without hearing it. But you like I say, you have to live with your conscience. In those quiet moments when nobody's around, you hear all of this stuff. You can't avoid it. She can't escape it. And so I think Shirley kind of went into a depression. That's why she was with Ronald and Tasha so long. She was just trying to survive at that point. I said what I said. Shirley really didn't know. Sorry, Shirley really didn't want to be bothered with all this jail. Exactly. And she still doesn't because she said, this jail stuff, that's not her life. It's not her life at all. And what I was saying to a moment ago was like, this is a modern day soap opera to me because I love soap operas. And I was reading that I think it's CBS, they've greenlighted a black soap opera. I don't know when it's going to premiere, but it's going to be called, I think it's going to be called The Gate or The Gates. And it's about a wealthy black female that lives in a gated community. And the last um, black soap opera I remember was Generation. I think that was pretty much the only one. I mean, in that genre, in that whole daytime field. So we're getting another soap opera. I might watch it because I kind of miss watching soaps. So this kind of takes the place of this. This is like a live action soap opera, in my opinion. So you tell me what you think or how you view it. It's like real time crime. It's happening in real time, and the all the characters and how the puzzle pieces are moving around. And I think we've kind of figured it out. We're just adding more pieces to the puzzle or connecting the pieces. And so that's why, like I said, I want to do these throwbacks because in some of the newer calls, we are referencing some of the older calls, and it just kind of puts it all in perspective. But yeah, so tomorrow I will do part five, and that was the infamous, like I said, Marjorie and Steve call where Shirley and Nesto are running their mouths about the big boss. And also, I noticed, I don't know if anybody else has noticed, it's popped up on my timeline that Steve has been posting a little bit more. I don't know if him and Marjorie are having an anniversary or what's going on, but he's starting to post, and maybe he's always been posting. The algorithm just wasn't feeding it to me, but I noticed that he's posting a lot here on YouTube. He's posted some shorts. So I really didn't look at them because it's more of their lifestyle, that glamorous, you know, non-regular people lifestyle. And I don't really get into celebrities' lifestyle. That's why I could never really get into the whole like basketball wives and the housewives of Atlanta and Married to Madison. I just never really liked that stuff. I honestly, they are some of the most shallow people. And I know it's entertaining because the ratings are through the roof and people talk about it all the time, but it's just never been my jam. This is more in my lane. So, Lady T Bug, you like celebrity gossip? I do to an extent, to an extent, but I guess I think we know a little bit too much about our celebrities. I think so, and I guess part of being a celebrity is wanting the attention, and it comes with the territory. But for me personally, I just want to know the surface because once we get to, in my opinion, once we get to know too much about the people, then I don't know. You start to see them in a different light, and I guess with in the age of information, I don't think it can be avoided. And they plant their own stories too. But I never the closest I think that I may have gotten to really enjoying reality TV, and I'm going to sound old now. I was look, I'm Gen X, so I watched The Real World because that was like the first reality TV show on MTV. I really enjoyed like the first couple of seasons or first few seasons of The Real World. I think the last one that I actively watched, okay, and don't judge me because a lot of you guys watched it, was The Flavor of Love. But after that, I kind of fell off. I kind of fell off from all of that. My sisters used to watch, especially the Love and Hip Hop. Reality TV. I do like reality TV shows. But I used to like I liked Amazing Race. I like stuff like that. I even watched Survivor. My older sister, she still watched that darn Naked and Afraid. And every time I would go over her house, she had a big, huge, 64-inch, one of those big, huge flat screens. And I would walk in and I would see somebody, walking around half naked, covered with mud. And I'd be like, why are you watching this? But I would sit there and watch that with her because I thought it was hilarious. I thought it was hilarious. Uh, Oh, okay. So I said what I said, right? Because I beside Al Green now that I know his story. You know what? I only know the surface of that, and now that is something that I would not mind like reacting to. A lot of these old Hollywood stories. I remember watching one about Stevie Wonder's mother. I don't know. Did anybody catch that? That was eye opening. My goodness, that poor woman, dealing with a child that lost his vision. And then on top of that, you got a no good ninja that basically puts you out on a stroll to feed the family, you know. And there was a memoir, and I guess Stevie had it written, and it talks about that his mother basically, had to prostitute to feed the family, and the dad was basically her pimp. His dad was her pimp, and wow, that's something else. So you're right, when you start really seeing or hearing the backgrounds of some of the people that you have grown up with, it can be eye opening. Let's see. I said what I said. I like some of the housewives. I like I said, I never really got into the housewives. I just, and I think part of the reason was too the way I was working, because when it was on, I was at work, and I just never really caught on to it. I believe that maybe had I start watching it earlier, I probably would have gotten into it. That's why I said with this new soap opera that they're starting called The Gate, and I guess it's going to come on daytime on network TV, and I'm interested in it because I watched an old clip of Generation. Somebody had posted it over in Lipstick Alley, and there was an old clip in there, and it was a fighting clip, and man, they were throwing down. I thought they were fighting for real, but I forgot how good Generations was. In fact, I forgot how good all the soap operas were. Um, let's see, Pure Intentions. I watched the first few seasons of The Real World. I did watch The Flavor of Love. Oh, I love The Flavor of Love. Okay, I will. Okay, I got one other one I have to admit to was um what was it? The Bad Girls Club. It kind of reminded me of the early Jerry Springer, the early episodes of the Bad Girls Club when they used to fight. Oh, they used to throw down. I was thoroughly entertained. But even after a while, I kind of just, it became, it seems to me stuff becomes more staged. Like the early episodes are usually, to me, sorry, the early seasons are more authentic. And that's the way I felt about the real world. And I don't know, maybe I said what I said. I know Lady T Bug watches some of the reality TV. I think that's where they capture their audience. And I think they do in the early parts of these reality TV shows, kind of let them go a little bit more. But then as people start to watch it more and people start to want to be on these shows more, they tend to act up in front of the camera just so they can get some screen time. So that's kind of, my opinion with the reality TV show. But like I said, this whole Nesto drama is a reality show for me. So, and we talk about it, and I know a lot more than I honestly want to know. It's amazing to me how I can kind of watch all this stuff, and I know the story, and I know what's coming up, and I know, again, like I said, the thinking behind Nesto's wows and all that stuff and what's and then just to be able to understand them, picking up on more stuff like that. But again, like I said, I don't necessarily want the channel to just focus on Nesto and all of that. I just don't, because like I said, we don't know how much longer this is going to go. I think it's got, like I said, it has a lot of tentacles, it has a lot of branches. I do believe that until it's all said and done, we're going to have material. And there are reactors out here that are abreast of it. They're in real time reacting to the content. And I don't want to be repetitive. I could just go hang out at Lady T Bug and we could talk about the newer stuff. So that's why I kind of wanted to reach back and look at the older stuff. But this actually is pretty interesting because it led me to kind of now watching a lot of these real judges who are putting content up. And Judge Stephanie Boyd is one of them. And I don't know, the first time I think I was exposed to her, I don't know if it was through Fran. I believe it might have been through Fran. I'm not 100% sure, but I do believe that it was either her or Tasha TMR showed a clip of Judge Boyd, and I like her style. I agree. I said what I said. I do want obviously people who are interested in the story or just now coming to know the story. It's a good way to grow the channel. But I also too, like I said, I don't want to be landlocked to it because some channels are just growing themselves based off this content. And I also see that there is a niche for me because I have a background in law enforcement, you know, and it's not as deep and as detailed as Shan. Shan is the expert when it comes to all of the things that go on behind the scene. I just hooked them up. I chased them, I hooked them up, I got the first line of information. And you know, they give us enough law knowledge to keep us and the citizens that we came in contact with safe. As to going to court, a lot of times the court was very boring for me. It was a lot of times I didn't even have to testify. I had to show up. I had to get up early in the morning after working late. But the ins and outs of how the actual court system works and all the paperwork and all that stuff, Shanna's an expert on that. Now, Diddy, I guess maybe I wouldn't say I. Yeah, he does have a lot of content, but I guess I guess one of the reasons I left police work, and I remember having to explain it to my mother because she was really kind of disappointed that I left. It was a good job. And, you know, I guess there was a little bit of prestige in her eyes that she could say her daughter was a police officer. And a lot of people thought I quit because it was dangerous and all that good stuff. No, I quit because it's depressing. Even as a dispatcher, it was depressing to some extent because all you heard about was crime all day. And I like to look at the lighter side of crime, I guess you could say, or the ironic part of crime, and being able to kind of lighten the mood even on heavy topics. Diddy to me is such a heavy topic because the depths of his depravity or alleged depravity is just something I don't want to kind of seep into my soul, and digging into that story. At least for me personally, that's what that would do. That's why, you know, I call, like, I just kind of headed this. I put up the thumbnail Crime Time Live because there's a lot of other things going on. You have, of course, we're talking about Nesto, but there are a lot of judges on the bench now that is sharing the day to day courtroom activity, and that really interests me. That that really interests me, and also to body cam footage, police body cam footage, because I've been out there in the trenches, and now I was out there well before body cam. Okay, so when I was in police, and they just started putting cameras in the car. You know, you had to turn that camera on whenever you did like a traffic stop. But as far as a body cam, I didn't have that. So we had a little bit more, I wouldn't say freedom, but it was a whole different environment. So now it's kind of interesting to me that these body cams are being worn and what now the general public see, because I used to encourage people to do ride along with police officers so they would kind of know what it looks like. One way it was explained to me early in my career by a veteran officer is that policing is 90% boredom, 10% pure adrenaline. Okay, now I think it's kind of moved a little bit. I would say they may be now at the 80-20 point because crime is just I wouldn't say it's out of control, but it's crazy now. What's out there on the streets now and how the police officers have to deal with them, because again, I just walked away from a career, still working closely with police officers and listening to the kind of runs that they had to go on and the kind of things that they were dealing with. The way I call it, you don't get a break. I worked in one of the busiest parts of our city. So you're talking about this about 20 years ago, but it was so busy that in the summertime you couldn't even get a break. And being a female officer, you have a gun belt on. If you had to go use the restroom, you had to drop that belt. You didn't have the luxury like a man, so you had to one time it that you can get to the restroom, and you had to be in a very enclosed area. You couldn't be in one of those stalls because you had to drop your gun belt. um, so just even taking time out to use the bathroom was a feat in my district. We are set up by districts. So in the summertime, you run an 8 hour shift. You literally since from literally you were being dispatched out a roll call, and you were rolling for at least the next 6 hours. You could barely get time to eat. But that was really particular to the district that I was in. Now, when I listen to radio traffic, it's everywhere in the city, and cities are having a hard time getting police officers. Their numbers are way down. The numbers in my city, they used to always at least have about 1,200 officers. I think they dropped below 1,000 officers last year. They even merged some of the districts, and that's a concern for me as a citizen because I know how spread out we are, and I know response times, and I know how police are dispatched. So that's a concern of mine. But I still, it's funny when I watch these body cams, even though it's been a while since I wore a gun, I still can remember everything. I can still remember, a lot of the training because we were well trained. We were well trained. Let me read some of you guys' comments. Pure intentions. Be careful with the Diddy situation. Yeah, exactly. And it says agree that there are content creators that are being threatened. Oh, really? That discuss the Diddy situation? Yeah, I'm not interested in that. Like I said, it's almost a part of, to me, being a little bit too much into these type of celebrities' lifestyle. It's not worth it to me. So Diddy would be good. So Lady T Bug, I think you've done some stuff. Well, I know you have. I started catching you. I don't know. I've always seen you in full disclosure, we both come from, well, we watched a lot of the mommy content, but it was Live, Laugh, and Love. And I don't know, maybe YouTube recommended a video, you were live, and I just popped in. But I think you may have covered Diddy. I think you did cover Diddy. I just wasn't around. But Diddy, just on the surface, I could talk about it, but I don't really want to go deeper. Again, like I said, some of that stuff is so dark. I hate to use the word triggering because these little kids run around, they're triggered by everything. They're freaking triggered by a grasshopper. Oh, there are a few big TikTokers that have gotten hit with letters and calls directly from Diddy's people. Oh, really? Hmm. I said what I said. I watched Louisiana Patrol Board and some of the black judge court cases. I think is interesting. I think that's interesting to me for some reason. It's very interesting to me. I've always watched judge shows. I mean, I remember being a teenager watching the People's Court. I watched the People's Court, Judge Judy, Judge Mathis, Judge Joe Brown. Look, I because now I'm just strictly on YouTube. I don't even watch network TV anymore. But I used to watch them every day. Judge Judy was my jam. Judge Mathis was my jam. So now to come on YouTube and have some judges actually posting real cases is interesting to me. I said what I said. That sounds about right. For Diddy, he doesn't like the negative stories going around about him. He can't escape it. I mean, it's just a matter of time. But getting to the judge shows, I don't know. Have any of you guys ever watched Judge Stephanie Brown? I found one. Actually, there's a lot of channels out here on YouTube that do nothing but post the judge content, and I'm not really 100% on that. They basically repost it, and they kind of do a little tweaking to it. But I know with some of these court hearings that basically you have to get permission. I guess I don't know if every place called it a Rule 22, so similar to what you have to get in Georgia. That even though they're posted on YouTube, but they're actually posted by the judge. That you still would have to get permission from the county to re-upload them, but to react to them, I don't think it's a problem. So just to kind of break the monotony, I'm gonna pull up a video that I had actually I pieced together. I actually looked at her court hearing, and I bookmarked, or rather, I just kind of tagged two of her videos, and they were very interesting. The first one led me to the second one, which I'm gonna look at the pull up the second one first because it tells the story. Because I was like, what is going on here? So let me just go ahead and pull that up. If my computer would act right. I didn't reboot it. Sometimes I have to reboot my computer because I don't shut it down at night. And I can go usually about a week without having any problems, but then I will run into problems. It usually will slow down or freeze on me, but it looks like we're doing pretty good so far. Look at this. Let's see. Okay, there we go. Nope. Well, I guess I cut and paste the wrong video. Well, hold on. Hold on. Did I cut and paste the wrong video? Oh, I don't think so. Let me try it again. Okay. I'm sorry. I'm just trying to get to the start point. So this is Judge Boyd's Zoom meeting. That's what they call them. And this case popped up as I was kind of just scrolling through the footage of her live videos. Sorry, her live Zooms. And let me see if I can man, I swear, those ladies, like the ones we commonly watch around StreamYard, and even you, Lady T Bug, you guys make it look so easy just flipping back and forth between these screens. But of course, everything comes with practice, and I keep forgetting you have to start somewhere, and practice makes perfect. And eventually, one day, I'll be like, this is easy. I'm hoping to get there soon. But so just bear with me as I pop around here and set up my screen the way I like it. Okay. So I think we're where I want to be. So this was dated this video is dated June 1st of 2023. And this is the end of one case. Let me kind of fast forward through it real quick and get the sound going. I muted it. Technical difficulties. I'm gonna have to stop sharing so I can unmute it. I muted it at the tab, and so it's not letting me take the mute off. Okay, let's try this again. Don't leave me yet, guys. Okay, I think I'm good. Okay. So, like I said, she's ending one case and she's getting ready to start another. You'll see the young lady, she's in the back. She just kind of walks through. She has on all white. Let's move forward. Okay. Okay. Oh, you know what? I didn't mean to bring this one up, but it's okay actually because then you'll be watching in the order I watched it,
All right.
and we'll get the
So,
questions answered.
Miss Beasley, do you have any children living with you? All right, and who is that?
Royalty. She's not fired yet.
All right. So, I'm not going to allow you to live with Mr. Williams because he has issues of his own. You understand?
Yes, ma'am. I don't, and I wanted to let you know we're not together no more. Nothing like that is going
When
on.
did that? You need to speak up. When did that end?
Um, I would say about a month ago.
Because you were just here with us by Zoom, were you not?
Yes, ma'am.
And when was that?
Thursday.
Thursday. So who are you living with?
No, we are in my apartment. That's where we are at in Austin.
And who lives in the apartment with you?
Me and Loyalty, he doesn't stay there anymore. He's back in San Antonio.
No, that's not what you said on the Zoom. I will tell you, my mind is a steel trap. I remember you being on Zoom and I remember you saying that you lived there with him.
Yes,
And
ma'am,
my
I did.
issue was that you all were jumping from place to place to place.
Yes, ma'am. So we were living with him at first in San Antonio. Then we moved to Austin. I stayed in Austin. He left back to San Antonio.
Deputy Laura, can you look this cause number up and tell me if he is in custody? It's 2018 CR 12116. Oh, no problem. Jamarquese, Jamarkese Williams.
So apparently, this is a follow up from
Or I guess it's Jamarcus.
a previous hearing she had, and I was just kind of interested because the judge clocked her immediately about the information she was giving her. So apparently, she's not supposed to be living with this Mr. Williams person. And of course, I thought of Nesto immediately, but we know he's locked up in Cobb County.
All right, so he's not here in Bear County because if he was, there's a warrant for his arrest and he would be here. So he's not here.
He's not with me,
Yeah.
so I don't.
All right. So you need to come back to Bear County
Yes.
because you're not in a stable situation and you're not even stable where you are because you say the lease is not even in your name because of your issues. So you need to come back to Bear County. You understand? All right. Bashan?
Yes, Your Honor.
On this case, I'm giving her 14 days to get back to Bear County. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
And you are not allowed to move anywhere else without my permission. So if there isn't something on your paperwork that says Judge Boyd is giving you permission to move, you are not to. Do you understand? All right, so she needs to be back. I'm going to give her till June 20th.
Now remember,
So I'm giving you more than
June 1st.
14 days. So you're coming back here by that time. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So apparently she moved out of the county and she said that she's not living with this
And I'm going to
guy.
explain something to you. I know sometimes people say, Judge, it's not your business that I'm moving all over the place and taking my child every.
Let me just pause real quick because I caught this part and I do believe, again, she's not supposed to be living with this guy. I'm not clear as to why she's in front of the judge, but apparently part of whatever was going on at this point, one of the orders was that she wasn't to live with this Mr. Williams and apparently she's moved quite a bit with her small child that's not his, and there are some concerns, and so the judge is basically ordering her to move back to, I guess, is it Bear County, and she's getting ready to go into, of course, the obvious for us is that you rip running and chasing behind a guy with a child. That's not good. So
everywhere, but it is. And the problem is people don't understand that children are people too. And part of my job when I take, people and place them on probation is to protect the community. And for some reason, people think protecting the community doesn't include children, that children have no rights and they should just go on their merry way on whatever adventures or misadventures their parents are taking them. So if you look at it objectively, your daughter has been taken from place to place to place. And Mr. Williams, he's not her biological father, is he? So I want you to think about how many men or how many adults you've brought into your daughter's life that shouldn't be there. He is on probation for assault, bodily injury out of a felony court. And that's who you brought into your daughter's life. I don't know why people don't do background on people when they have children. You should stop bringing random people into your child's life. You understand?
she is absolutely right.
Probation. Is there anything else that she needs?
Your Honor,
Hey, Dwayne.
she completed a parenting program that was for a 4-hour course. Is that acceptable in court's eyes?
What did you learn from that course?
Well, I took it in 2022. I can't say everything I remember. As far
Some of
as
these babies don't
how
have
you
a
treat your
chance.
child and how to cope with things with your child, how to act around your child, what not to do around your child.
How not to bring inappropriate people around your child, which is what you did. She needs an updated course of parenting, a remedial course in parenting.
I just love how laid back this judge is. You
So
see
if there's another course for her to take, and it doesn't have to be the complete long course, but obviously she didn't get the point that you're not supposed to just allow random people around your child. So is there a course?
I'll look
Should we
into
try
it.
rainbows?
I'll talk to the CSO to see what we come up with, Your Honor.
Okay.
But as far as all remaining conditions, is it okay that I just put parenting courts
Yes.
and then
And if you are not by care by June 20th, what's going to end up happening is a warrant may be issued for your arrest. You understand?
I do want to point out, Your Honor, that her intensive outpatient treatment begins on the 12th of this month. So, and that will be in person as
Okay.
well
Okay.
here.
All right. And can you make sure that they do field visits?
Yes, Your Honor. How many times a month?
Let's start off with one time per month until she has at least been in outpatient treatment for at least 2 months. And if probation doesn't see any issues at the home, they can then do field visits as they deem necessary. Now, is there anything else you need? And how old is your child? All right, so let me explain something to you. She is 100% dependent on you to protect her, to bring good people into her life. You understand? You can't come first anymore. It has to be her because she cannot get a job on her own. She cannot take care of herself. She can't enter into contracts where she gets apartments on her own and any of that. She's dependent on you. You understand? All right. Is there anything else you need from me? You sure? All right. So in this court probation, to be successful, you got to communicate. If there's something going on in your life that you need help with, contact probation. If you feel they're not addressing that issue, then you can come to court. Okay. All right. Good luck to you.
Okay, so this is, I guess it was the update. She's on probation and they talk about outpatient treatment. So I was curious, and the chat was left up some of the times the chats disappear, but somebody had indicated, oh, I remember her. And she also says that she was in the judge's courtroom the previous Thursday because June 1st is on a Thursday. So I went back and looked on the calendar, and the previous Thursday was May 25th. So I went and scrolled through the judge's videos, did a search, and found that the Zoom meetings, there was a Zoom meeting. At this point, the young lady, her name is Tamia Beasley. She was actually on Zoom at home. So it kind of addressed uh, her case again. So this is an ongoing case. And I was curious because the judge clocked her, was like, I remember you. I remember what you said, because she kind of hemmed her up on whether or not she was living with this Mr. Williams guy. So I did go back and I found that video. And let me see if I can do a little bit more smoothly in transitioning to this next video. So bear with me as I get a little bit better with this. I think just a little bit better. Let's see.
I'm gonna expect some movement.
Oh, 124. Okay, so yeah, this it should her should start up right now with this next. This was the part. Now this was the May 25th hearing that she had, so it gives a little bit more context. But I just find her judge style very interesting and very straightforward and direct, and everything she says, of course, with her years being on the bench and being in the legal field, she's echoing a lot of the things that we say. And you're right, Latoya. These women let any man around their kids, and I just don't understand that. I don't understand that. I don't have any kids, but it doesn't take a rocket scientist to me to you know that's the obvious. We hear it every day. The bad news about these men, or even now women, coming into the lives of these kids that don't have a voice and doing horrible things to them. So it's amazing to me that even in this day and age, with all the information that we have, that we still have these occurrences where our young people are put in harm's way by the people who's supposed to protect them. So yeah, so this is the previous Thursday, and it gives a little bit more context. I really wanted to play this one first, but fumbling around with this. But it's the way I watched it. So you guys are kind of looking at it the way I watched it. So this is for her first hearing. So she's down at the bottom on Zoom, and Judge Boyd is finishing up another case. She has like a lot of cases on her docket, and for them to be able to keep up with everything, and for her to even be able to reference um, her previous conversations with this young lady, I guess that is a part of being a judge, and it should be a part that you are able to retain information. But to me, it'd be like information overload. But let's listen to the first part. I think we're almost right at where her hearing actually starts. So, up in the right hand corner is the case she's finishing up in person, and then we have the young lady who was just in court at the bottom. Again, if you check it out, it looks like Judge Boyd has a purse fetish. I don't know if you caught it in the first video, but her purse was front and center in the video too.
I expect women to judge. I don't have much control.
13th. She said 13th.
Okay.
Right.
With that, may I be excused? And may I schedule something with Judge Nahara?
Yes, after you sign the
Thank you very much.
document. All right, who is here on Tamia Beasley?
Let me
Yes.
move my
All right,
banner
Miss
so you
Beasley, if you
guys
could
can actually
unmute.
see her.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Okay, let me read that. The supplemental report. Is it the supplemental report?
It's the supplemental report and
Okay. Oh, I see it here. You just put everything in the email. That is so great.
So in the prior video, the judge was talking to somebody who was off camera, and I believe it's the lady in the top right, and I guess she's from probation, and I don't know if she's actually her probation
Okay, I see
officer.
what's going on.
But yeah, I was curious as to who she was talking to because it didn't appear like she had an attorney.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay, I'll let you know, Jason.
It says adjudicated.
Is it a motion to enter into the?
In your response to the supplemental report, Your Honor, you
Mhm.
wanted to possibly have her father present.
Yes.
From my understanding, he cannot be present, and Ms. Beasley can expand on that. Yes.
All right. Miss Beasley,
Yes, ma'am.
you have issues on your probation. What do you think those issues are?
I have not completed a few things on my probation.
Do you want to go to prison?
No, ma'am.
Then why are you not doing what is being asked of you?
I currently am. I have to just pay my fees, I know, and then I'm currently in my outpatient class that I start on the 12th of June. So
Have you turned over information to probation showing
Yes.
that you're actually doing this?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, the intensive outpatient treatment begins with Bear County on the 12th of June.
And I've also completed my drug offender class. I'm trying to see, everybody's saying, like, as far as my probation officer that I currently have says that my parenting class is not on file, which I don't know why, because I had to do my parenting class in order to get my child back
Did
in
you
the.
complete it?
Yes, ma'am, I have.
Let me ask you, what have you learned from parenting?
I mean, I just learned how to cope with things I have going on in order to take care of my child and make sure she has a good life.
Well, what I'm getting here, which I have an issue with, is that it appears that you keep following your boyfriend wherever he may be.
No, ma'am, that's not what's going on.
No, that's what it says here. It says you were supposed to be in Pflugerville, and then you left Pflugerville. Then you returned to Bear County to live with your boyfriend.
Mhm.
So then Travis County closes the case. Then in April, you said you're returning to Travis County.
I just want to pause real quick because she's throwing around cities and counties: Bear County, Pflugerville, and Travis County. So we're talking about Texas. If you don't know, she's in Texas, around the Austin area. If Lady T-Bug is still in here, we know where Pflugerville is, or at least we know a resident of Pflugerville or ex-resident of Pflugerville. I don't know where my Jazzy Life is living right now, but she's still in that Austin area. So that's Travis County. I'm not sure where Bear County is, but Pflugerville, that's in the Austin, Texas area, just for some context.
Because your boyfriend has a job in Austin.
Yes, ma'am, that is my boyfriend that I'm currently pregnant by, and that's the only reason why I moved to Bear County back there, because that's where he was at. And this is not the person that I got in trouble for or nothing like that.
No, it appears that you keep bringing people into your child's life. That's why you have had the CPS case. That's why I ordered parenting classes, because you keep putting boyfriends before your children, because you keep moving from place to place. I am sure, how old is your oldest child?
He's 5.
I am sure your 5-year-old is probably saying, please, can I just be in a class with classmates and know these people and not be moved from place to place? You have your core person. Your core person is your boyfriend. Your child would like to have You know, if Susie's her best friend, she would like to know that Susie's going to be my best friend tomorrow because I'm not getting moved from place to place because some boyfriend is going from job to job. And that's what you're doing. And you keep changing addresses. And the court is not having that anymore. What are you doing with your life other than following your boyfriend around? Do you have a job?
Yes, ma'am, I do.
So why do you keep following your boyfriend around? What is it he find a job wherever you are so that your child is not uprooted constantly?
Well, as of right now, Your Honor, my child hasn't started school, so I felt like this would have been the most reasonable time to do this, to move wherever the job was better at. I work from home, so it's not really just too much of an issue for me.
No,
But
not for you. It's an issue for the child. And I don't think parents understand. Basically, your lifestyle for your child is not stable for her. Adults are always making moves to benefit themselves. And in the background, they say, oh, well, it's benefiting my child because I'm going with this new guy and he has a job here. So we're going to have a better living situation. That's not stability for your child. So now she's made friends wherever she made friends, and then she's moving to a whole another city, have to make all new friendships. When you have your core connection is this boyfriend that you're following around from place to place. And you're following people from place to place and not receiving permission from the court to do so. You are on paper. And that means that when you're on paper, you follow the rules that I give you. You don't up and leave from place to place.
Now, I will say in my cop days when I was an officer, I remember having conversations similar to this with people that I met out there. And the decision making is horrible. And we all assume because we're kind of in a bubble. We look at our lives and how we move and how we maneuver our lives. So it's almost going back to what Latoya said earlier. These women let any man around their kids. And just from a you would think from a human standpoint that would be understood. Why do people have to have parenting classes? You know, they always say, you know, being a parent doesn't come with a handbook. You have to parent each child differently. But at the core of parenting is providing safety and structure and love to this human being that did not ask to be here. And I always question, like, why are you having kids if you're not ready to put them first? Like she said in the previous um, video that you have to put yourself second. The child's needs come first, and a lot of people are just not willing to do that, especially when they're little like that. They have no say, so they don't know what's going on. And this woman, okay, so apparently she got in trouble with another guy, which probably ended her up on probation. And also, she had a CPS case in which the child was removed because she indicated the parenting classes was the reason why she was able to get her daughter back. You know, she took the parenting classes. They're not showing up. But she's now with the third guy that she's running around the Austin area with, and not, she doesn't have any regard for her child. And so the judge, of course, is reading her rights literally or figuratively. But I remember having these same conversations because it's like, what are you not getting here? What what are you not getting? Why do I have to tell you this stuff?
And it appears that you've moved like maybe 3 different times without the court's permission. And you're not doing what you're supposed to be doing. And what great job did your boyfriend have that you moved to Austin?
he's a teacher, Your Honor. He coaches as well.
Do we have any proof of that?
No, Your Honor.
We have 0 proof of that. And I'm telling you right now, you are coming back to live with your father, the child's grandfather. And I'm sure that was the person that CPS had as your, what is it called?
Safety.
Yes, safety person. So you're coming back to move with that child's grandfather, and that is where you are going to be. And if you're going to be living with this boyfriend, then you need to provide information to probation, what his name is, where he works, and who is he? Because I don't know.
I have spoke to Miss Callie Jones. Miss Callie Jones had him email her a letter of where he works and who I'm staying with, and that he provides everything as for me as far as paying the bills and stuff. So that email has been sent out, and I actually have the email as well.
Well, I don't have that information, and I did not approve of that. So you're coming back to live with your daughter's grandfather.
But Your Honor, as of right now, I cannot do that because my father has a restraining order because he tried to shoot me. He has a felony right now of trying to do that. So.
Oh, really? Is that what we have?
I was like, wow, when I
From
first
what
heard that. Her own
Ms.
father tried to
Beasley
shoot her.
reports is he's currently or was currently in jail for.
Do we have information of that?
That's what, I don't have it offhand, Your Honor. I'd have to kind of research that a little bit.
Okay, because I don't have any documentation of that.
I know that that's what Ms. Beasley told Officer Rodriguez as well.
Well, if that happened in Bear County, there should be some sort of documentation of that.
Excuse me, it didn't happen in Bear County. It happened in Killeen. That's where he lives. That's where he never lived in Bear County.
Oh, well, it still should be easy enough for us to find that as well. So where did this supposedly happen?
In Bell County, yes.
All right, we're going to find that out.
Okay.
Your Honor, if I may.
Yes.
So if she has completed the classes that were mandated, the parenting program, the drug course, we just do not have any type of documentation of that.
All right, so this is what we're going to do. We're going to reset this because I want information on her father. And she's going to provide all that documentation. And if that documentation is not provided, then a warrant is going to be issued for your arrest if you don't provide this documentation to probation that they're saying they do not have. We're going to come back. Ms. Ferguson, can we bring this back on June 1st? All right, we're coming back on June 1st.
I have a question, Your Honor. So with
Yes.
the probation officers that do have this information, I'm just trying to figure out why it's not getting back to you that do have the documentation of stuff that I finished.
All right. Well, I can't answer that question. I'm not the probation officer.
The Bear County probation does not have the information.
Yes. Bear County probation has no information.
Okay, because I've had my probation officer with Coppers Cove and Travis County, and those two.
Well, see, here's the thing. The problem is your Travis County, it's closed. You know why it's closed? Because you no longer are there. All these places that you're talking about, probation should have it here or have it there, they've closed out because you leave without permission. And a motion to revoke should really be filed against you, and you should be brought back to Bear County and brought over from the jail wearing blue, because you are just moving without the court's permission, and you're moving around with a 5-year-old and not providing them any stability, which the court does not like.
It's not about stability. I have apartments. My leases are up. I move. Like, that's just all there is.
Here's the thing. Do you not understand that you're on probation? It's a contract with the court. And if you don't follow the rules I set for you, that you could go to prison. How hard is that to understand? You don't get to move wherever you want to live because you're on probation, or as people say, you're on paper. You don't get to do whatever you want to do. You're supposed to do what the court is telling you to do. And as a part of your instructions, all these places that you're moving to, I didn't give you permission to move to. And then you're moving to them. And then you're just leaving, going somewhere else. And then I get notice that probation and these different cities or counties that you're staying in, they're closing it because you moved somewhere else. Again, following a boyfriend. I don't know why. It doesn't matter to me if it's boyfriend or girlfriend. People be pinning their hopes on these people. Will you please turn off your phone, Miss Conley? people be pinning their hopes and dreams on a boyfriend, a girlfriend. They don't have any legal connection with them. They're just following them across the world. So this is coming back on June 1st. And you're in Austin, you need to get thee to Bear County because that's where that hearing is going to take place. It's not going to take place by Zoom. And your boyfriend should be able to give you bus fare or whatever it is to get to Austin.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. So we'll see you in Bear County June 1st.
Okay, so I was just writing down some things as I was watching this. First of all, I just want to point out the lady from probation. Again, I'm assuming she's from probation. Her pen, that flower pen, just tickled me. It was cute, but she definitely had that flower pen busy. One of the questions I had, and the judge kind of addressed it, was like um, about her being on probation in other counties and how she just left and they just closed her probation out. And I'm like, where do they do this at? I never heard of that. I don't know if the system is overwhelmed, but what Judge Boyd made very clear to this young lady was that you don't follow my orders, I'm going to lock you up. So what I would be interested in, I want to hear the original hearing, what she originally was put on probation for. So I'm going to see if I can find that. Really, all I would need is the date of the original hearing. I'm just curious to know the whole story here, and that's one thing that I find after following this whole Nesto stuff. When you watch these cases, you're curious and you want to know more. So apparently, I don't know what kind of trouble she was in with the first boyfriend, not her first boyfriend, but the one who got her initially put on probation. It sounds like it might have been some drugs involved because she had to go to treatment, outpatient treatment for it, and she also had to take parenting classes. And like I said, I watched a lot of content around the mommy sector, being in law enforcement, and just being a human who has lived as long as I have. I've always heard about these parenting classes, and I know people get sent to parenting classes, but I don't really know like what do they actually teach them because she couldn't tell you what she learned, and that's sad. And you're right, I said what I said. These poor kids. I mean, where's the natural instinct? I watched my older sister, even though she was married, shortly after she was married, she basically became a single mom, even though she was married. She became a single mom and she had 5 kids. And of course, she had the support of us as family, but I always tip my hat to her for doing the job that she did, taking on the responsibility and not making excuses. She laid down and had those kids, so she was going to take care of her kids. And also, my mother told her when my oldest niece was born, welcome to the real world. You're going to be a mom. And guess what? I'm just going to be grandma and I'm going to show you how to be a mother. So maybe that's the problem. Generationally, we kind of stopped passing down some of the things um, to our daughters. I mean, I get into the generational loop all the time, being a little older, but I am a daughter of a boomer, and my mother didn't play. And she always made it really clear to us that if we have kids, we're going to take care of them. My mother was a young mother, she was a teenage mom, and she's the second oldest of 17. So there was no coddling. When she started having kids, she had to raise her kids and now I just don't understand why some people think being a parent is fungible. I watch these mommies now who come here on YouTube and share all of their business and don't want to be criticized. A lot of them could be in this young lady's position. Some of them probably should. They should be taking parenting classes. You're right, Latoy. You are definitely right. Says she better follow the rules before she gets locked up. Now, like I said, the first one I showed you was of June of 2023, June 1st. I'm wondering, do they have any more of her subsequent hearings and was she released from probation? I just really want to know what the original circumstances are. But what kind of knocked me back was apparently that originally she was supposed to live with her father, but her father pulled a gun out on her, tried to shoot her. So maybe she just didn't have a chance. I mean, looking at her, the way she came into the courtroom and also on the Zoom, she looks like an ordinary young lady who, a law abiding citizen. She definitely knows how to put that, face forward. But it sounds to me that her life consists of attaching herself to a man, and the kids are an afterthought. And I believe she said she's pregnant or she was pregnant. So now there's probably two kids involved in this mess. But what's really clear to me is that Judge Boyd is not for play at all, at all. She's no nonsense, and I find that a lot of that with these judges, and that put their stuff out here on Zoom. There's quite a few other judges that do it, but Judge Boyd to me seems to be very fair. She's firm, no nonsense, and she knows her stuff. She definitely knows her stuff. So I just thought this was interesting. Like I said, I'm going to go and see if I can find any more of her appearances. And like I said, there's channels out here that do nothing but show these court cases. They've sorted through the footage, and sometimes these Zoom meetings and these and trials, they go on for hours. In fact, before I came on live, Judge Boyd was on live. So if you are not familiar with her, she does have a channel and is under Judge Stephanie Boyd. And I'm not sure if she posts every day, but she may even still be on doing live hearings. So moving right along, the last thing I have up today is body cam, body cam footage. And I watched most of this next video. I watched most of it probably, oh gosh, it had to be about a week ago. I had to go dig to find it because I kind of just I lost track of it. And but it was interesting because it was taking place in good old Atlanta. So I'm going to hopefully not take too long to dig this one up. I'm getting a little better flipping through my screens here. And like I said, I do a split screen, so it's not just clicking to a tab. I have to actually go back, find the video, and then pull it up, and then bring up my split screen again. Hopefully, it won't be. Um, I won't be as clunky. Again, like I said, I'm thinking about truly investing in a desktop monitor so I can actually monitor so I don't have to flip back and forth between screens. So yeah, I'm gonna pull this up. This is something I found. It's the channel is called Crime Cam Now, and that's the next video I want to show you. And this is really in my wheelhouse. I watch these body. I can binge watch these body cam videos all day. And like I said, I guess it's just like riding a bicycle. To me, once you've been a cop and you've learned the lay of the land, that you never really lose it. You kind of that cop brain kind of to come back on, and it's interesting for me, or it may be interesting to you guys, my perspective, because I've never been arrested, so I can't say I've been on both sides of the law, but I've just been a regular citizen. I've been a law-abiding citizen, and I've also been a police officer. And I am obviously, if you can't tell by the avatar, which doesn't really look like me, but I am a black woman. So there's a lot of complex things that go into being a law being in law enforcement and being African American, and on top of that being a woman. And again, I did this back in the late 90s, early 2000s, and there were not a lot of um, female officers, period. And fast forwarding through when I re-entered law enforcement again as a dispatcher, and I started to see the number of women in uniform, and not just women but black women, it really made me feel good. And one of the reasons why I wanted to be an officer, I felt it was important to be an officer. I wanted to bear witness. I wanted to be there. And I will tell you honestly, in the I was an officer for 3 years, and it may not seem like a long time, but when you're in a busy city in an urban area, you get to see everything. I've seen everything. There's not too much I have not seen. Okay, but I will say, at least in my presence, people were treated with dignity. People were treated fairly. because I just wasn't that person. I wasn't a go along to get along. Yeah, there's a quote unquote blue line, but I also understand. Sorry, Sorry, I also understood that people are human and they needed to be treated like human in a very vulnerable moment, because you just get to meet people on their worst day. They're having a bad day. If I had to come and see them, they were having a bad day. Like Nesto said, what a bad day for you. And I tried
Police
to, of
officers responded to a
course, it's going to start playing because I started sharing split the screen, but um, they are having a bad day. And sometimes it was their fault. A lot of the times it was their fault, and sometimes it wasn't. So I will say that I can say honestly that some of the best people I worked with, they were police officers and they were white males, and I know that's kind of hard to believe. And I know some people are like, oh well, gosh, that was 20 years ago. Things have changed. Let me tell you, in my city, we had a riot because of a police shooting. I was working during that time. We had riots. We basically went on. I guess we basically had a curfew, a city curfew. They shut the city down because of this. The city was mad. Okay, and we were one of the first cities that had to deal with an officer involved shooting and unrest in the community. In fact, my city went to go train other cities. They go help and support other cities that are dealing with it, with unrest. Like they helped out in Baltimore. They helped out in was that Wisconsin? Where was it Wisconsin? I can't remember. Or Milwaukee, I think it was. They went to go help out and tell them how, to handle the situation. That's why you see now when there's a police involved shooting that could be controversial, they try to get out in front of it. They do the press conference, they release as much information as they can, and they do that because they learned the lessons, honestly, of what my city went through in the early 2000s. But that aside, let's go ahead and watch this because, like, again, this happened. This police footage is from, I believe it's the Atlanta, Georgia area, and the title of this video: "Couple arrested for attempted vehicle purchase with a fake ID."
call from Landmark Atlanta dealership regarding a suspicious couple attempting to purchase a vehicle using fraudulent ID. Additionally, they insisted that they had only met each other the day before and denied any knowledge of the fraudulent activity. Recognizing the seriousness of the situation, the officers detained the couple and proceeded to handcuff them for further investigation.
Not him with the red shirt, but the guys. How y'all doing? Good, how are you? All right, I'm Detective Lloyd. Called in because we had an issue. Miss Manema, is that how you say it? Issue? Yeah. You have your ID on you? I don't. How you don't have your ID but you purchasing a vehicle? I don't have an ID on. You have your ID on you, sir? Don't stand up for me. I'd say what I say. You're exactly right. Atlanta appears to have a lot of scammers. They do. But listen to them. This is the crazy part. Okay. Yeah, looking at them. I get it. Get your ID on. Listen to their story. Okay. You ain't got no type of ID on you? I don't. Okay. I put this little police line cover on because if you know anything about repurposed content here on YouTube, you got to kind of mix it up. You got to pause the video. You put the overlay on here to kind of keep it from being flagged. But this body cam video is public information. It truly is. But I just kind of want to mix it up a little bit and play around with the tools. Issue is the ID that was presented. The ID that was presented does not come back to you.
Right? You knew that though, did you not? Hmm?
Don't let me go down for anybody. What the hell?
How you know her?
I just met her.
Huh?
I just met her.
You just met her and you gave her a ride up here.
That officer's
He
so
doesn't know
country.
me. He just met me last night,
Okay.
and we can go. If we're gonna go, we can go.
If you gonna go, you can
I'm
go.
sorry,
Wherever
her
we're gonna
voice is
go.
kind of deep, and I'm talking about the suspect. So I'm wondering if
Okay.
she's a little
If
suspect,
we
if you know
gonna
what
go,
I
we can
mean.
go.
And did you catch that they just met last night?
Um,
What's your name, man?
Chris.
Chris what? Johnson?
Yes, sir.
You got an ID?
No, sir. I was trying to see if I had a picture.
What's your date of birth, Chris Johnson?
June 12th, 94.
Me and
How
Jeanette.
old are you, Mr.
See,
Johnson?
they asked him his birthday
How old are
because
you?
this is information that should just roll off your tongue, and you should be able to remember it.
You got a Georgia
So
ID?
remember that.
Yes, sir. Well,
Your ID?
yes, sir. Well, I'm in California. I need to.
Terry Jones.
Wait a fuck. What's your name?
Sean Gardner. Sean Collier. Michelle George.
Dang, how many IDs does she have on her?
He and Sabrina. Wow.
Now I don't know if it's my playback or it's the actual footage that's skipping, so I apologize for quality.
Appreciate you.
Can I call me around? Dude?
Give us a second, Mr. Hold man.
Whose car is that?
Let's work it out.
It's hers.
That's her car?
Yeah.
Which car?
Which one? The Benz?
Yeah.
Is it right out here?
That one
So they
right?
pulled up in the bins.
So tell us about you meeting her last night.
Man, I met her at a club, at a lounge.
You got decided to come get a car for me?
No, we went to the goddamn. I went to her house.
So you meet her at a club
And
and then decide
she
to
said, "Can you take me up to get your car?"
You have a
come with her to buy a car the next day.
Mr. Johnson, you lying to us about your name, man?
No,
No? You got a Georgia ID?
I do, but I have
So
California.
you have one out of Georgia.
Yes, sir.
And spell your first name.
I have, I said what I said. I got the volume up as loud as it would go.
Christopher Johnson. not
They're
Chris.
talking low. You
Johnson,
can barely
spell
hear
Johnson.
them. Like he's mumbling anyway. He's doing that Nesto
You don't
talk.
have a middle name?
No, sir. I just told him
Okay. What's your date of birth?
June 8th, 94.
So he's saying his
Told me
birthday
about
is
it.
June 8th. I
8th.
believe he
Told me
told him a different
You
date.
told me the 12th. You said
Yeah,
June
he told him
8th.
June 12th initially.
Sir.
94?
Yes, sir.
No middle name. Try Christopher for the first name. Date of birth June 8th, 94.
So I apologize for the sound though, if you can barely hear it.
Scads.
But they're not really talking that loud.
Just being dead. All right?
Can I make a phone call?
So if you're not following, let me pause. So I watched it. I guess I watched a lot of it. So basically, they're being flagged. They were flagged by the dealership. Obviously, that they were providing false credentials, false information, and IDs to try to buy a car. And immediately when the officers come in, the lady part of this duo immediately says he didn't have nothing to do with this, and she's apologizing to him. And this young dude is standing there acting like he don't know what's going on. So I don't know if you remember, I said they asked him his date of birth because that is something we all know. We all know our date of birth. It's in our DNA to say what our actual birthday is. And then they ask him again because he's under stress. He's in handcuffs and he's getting ready to go to jail. And according to him, He don't even really know this lady. So then they're talking to him. They ask him his birthday again. First time he said his birthday was June 12th. Then he said June 8th, I believe. And they busted him in that lie. And then he says, "Oh no, I just met her last night. I met her at the club, at the lounge. We went back to her place." And then apparently, like I asked, the investigator, the detective is like, "So you decided to come and buy a car?" And they pulled up in a Benz of all things. Now, the first time I watched it, I didn't catch them say that, "Oh, that's her car out." They came in that car, and that's her car is a Benz. So when they walk up to the car, I'm like, how does this lady have a Benz? I'm not trying to pass judgment, but I'm trying to figure out what she does to afford a Benz.
Nothing about you thought it
You
was
almost
odd. Just gonna
choked
go
on my
buy a car the
coffee.
next day after you meet her.
Shit, she got money. So I ain't think that I thought I caught me a female with some money.
Or he thought he called a sugar mama.
Blame me for that.
So you see that white Benz? That's what they
Man,
pulled up in.
shit, she told me I essentially got me some money. She didn't say she was there.
What club y'all meet at? Cool Lounge? Crew?
And I said what I said. I've had the same experience you had about the volume when I've been in other people's lives.
A thorough search of the
And
vehicle ensued, leading to
and what you end up doing, I've done it, is I have to turn my TV volume up or my computer volume up louder. And then when I do that, when the content creator starts talking, it's like very loud. So again, I apologize for the volume. But I'll try to clarify anything that I think needs to be clarified.
the discovery of additional fake IDs and social security cards.
That's a nice pin.
Yeah, Bluetooth.
Yeah, what is backpack?
Yeah. That's a loft.
Room 710. Oh, here we go. Oh, they're staying in room 710.
Sandra Kitchens.
Whoops.
I think that's her name.
Sandra Kitchens.
Yeah.
I keep my real one with me just in case.
Yeah, because that.
Oh, it's a fake ID.
That's fake too?
Yep.
Oh,
boy, howdy.
Is that the same picture?
Yeah. Boy, we should realize, look.
Same pic? You know, her Georgia one came back to some white lady.
Oh, that came back to some white lady?
Yep.
And the New York is, we can't see the ID photo for the New York one, can we?
Probably not. Did we run that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Over radio. Came back 29 negative, but.
She's about to be sitting in the slammer for a while. Comes back to a black male.
Black male. This is a black male. Miss Lydia Manema.
Probably one of her victims.
And what about Miss Shauna Winder?
somebody else.
That comes back to the same black male.
Same black male.
Same OLN, different name and everything on it.
Is a young looking black male?
Yeah.
Like a Kevin something?
I think so.
Exactly.
Yep, Kevin Kinney.
That's what that was. Oh.
That was like 5 probation parole things for different names, but not 100%. No. There wasn't
the
one.
OLNs to those names.
They didn't have OLNs. They just had SSNs, FBI numbers. And
They
stuff.
now face charges of identity fraud, possession of forged ID documents, forgery of a financial transaction card, forgery in the first degree, and other related offenses.
Book you in real quick. Not right now.
That's what I'm trying to see.
Right now, it's looking like conspiracy because you're with her. We can't prove that you're not completely involved in what she's doing today. If we can prove that, then you'll be all right.
What you mean
But
you can prove what?
you're here with her. We can't prove whether or not that you're involved in the fraud she's trying to do.
That ain't had nothing to do with that.
That don't mean nothing. People lie to the police all the time, man. But we're gonna go take you to get fingerprint and try to identify you first, okay? We'll go from there.
Okay, so that wraps up that video. I guess the quality was not as good as I had hoped for because the volume. Let me see what you just said. I said what I said. Why do these criminals ride around with all of their evidence on them? It does sound familiar, doesn't it? And believe it or not, criminals aren't smart. I mean, we know that in general, but we see it, we get to see it now in real life. I mean, like real footage. And that was my experience. And let me tell you something. There's something magical about those silver bracelets, those handcuffs. I cannot tell you how many times I put somebody in cuffs and they just gave up everything. One, they just start talking. Okay. And when you put them in the back of that police car, they could be the toughest, roughest, most thuggish person out there on the streets. But as soon as you lock them up or put them in those cuffs and put them in the back of the police car and make it clear to them that they are going to jail, they start crying. I've seen many of grown men cry in the back seat of my car, asking for their mom, literally asking for their mom or their grandma. So it's a very humbling experience. Like I said, it's a bad day for them, and no matter what the crime was, um, you have to keep your head. I mean, it's tough. It's tough sometimes because you have to, especially when you're dealing with somebody who may have done something very heinous. Just kind of trying to keep your head and be level. Or even there were times I even kind of sympathized with people are being locked up because I'll never forget a case where there was a young lady who called the police and said that her boyfriend had punched her in the eye. We get there and he's there just kind of holding the baby, just chilling. He didn't know that she called the police. So, of course, we pull them aside. We get the stories. It comes back and she says that he punched her in the eye earlier that day. Now, I wasn't an expert on body injuries, but she was a light skinned young lady. She's very light. Um, I didn't see any bruising on her face, any marks on her at all. And I just assumed if he punched her in the face and the eye earlier that day, there would be some kind of markings. But again, I'm not any expert. And we take domestic violence very seriously. So just based off of her saying it, we had to lock him up. And he was upset, of course. He went with us, but he was telling me as I was transporting him to jail, he said she does this all the time. He says they're not together. He's the father of the youngest child and he doesn't want to be with her, but he comes to see the child. And he said he stayed the night. He slept on the couch. He said, but he was ready to go in the morning and she starts all this drama. He said, but he didn't hit her. But of course, we put them in handcuffs and take them to jail. So you kind of listen to their story, and sometimes I even lecture. I even lecture people on the way down to the jail. You can see their record; they clearly kept getting in trouble and doing all kind of crazy stuff. And so, just talking to them, especially the young people, I'll never forget. I would get young people who had extensive records with the juvenile system. They're now 18 and they're in trouble for the first time as an 18-year-old. And now they're going to the county jail, which is a whole different ball game. Where I'm at, our juvenile, quote unquote, juvenile jail is a joke. It's like we used to call it romper room. Literally, we would take them to juvenile and they would process them and they would call their parents, unless, of course, it was something heinous. But if it was something like shoplifting or even fighting, something that was just like, a minor misdemeanor, yeah, it was still trouble. We would call their parents to come pick them up, or they would call their parents to come pick them up. So the most that they would possibly stay in juvenile detention was a few hours. And if the parents refused to pick them up, they would actually tell the parents that we will sign a warrant on you. And then that means that I had to go pick up the parents. That has happened. But I would have to tell these young people, we're not going to juvenile. You're not going to romper room. You're going to go to the county jail. And at the time, our county jail was run by Simon Lease. And if you know anything about uh, uh, what is his name? Hugh Hefner, Hustler Magazine. He had a big case in my city, and it was a First Amendment case. And he went up against the prosecutor at the time, which was Simon Lease. And if you watch that movie, he actually was he had a part where somebody played um, uh, the sheriff Simon Lease in that movie. It was a pivotal point, or it was a big part of that movie, telling of this story. But Simon Lease was running the jail, and he didn't play. They didn't play. Those sheriff deputies did not play down there. So I used to have to warn the young guys, don't think that you're going to go down here and it's going to be like what you experienced in juvenile. You start acting up, and them boys are going to put the hammer on you. They don't get to come outside and run around and chase criminals like I did. They were in the jail dealing with all that mess. And all I had to do was have my dispatcher call down to the jail if I had a combative prisoner. And as soon as I would pull up, we call it a sally port. As soon as I would pull up, there would be about 7 COs outside waiting to get them out the car. Let's see. I said what I said. The the clear people are the real G's. They don't say nothing. They keep their poker faces until they hear what the popo has to say about what they know before they talk. You're exactly right. At least a lot of the stuff that we see, and especially these whole high profile cases. But let me tell you, um, they are just as ratchet. Believe me, I have met some of the most ratchet ones. And but one thing they do know their rights, and they do know their privilege, and they have no problem asserting it. I just watched a video. Actually, I was looking through my history when I was looking for this video. I was watching the video where I think it's the Clinties, the young lady who unalived her boyfriend down in Miami, the OnlyFans girl. Her parents were arrested because they apparently took his laptop and they tampered with it. So Florida had Dade County had a warrant for them to be picked up in Texas. And man, you would the way they handled them with kid gloves, it seemed to me like the Texas officers, because it was their jurisdiction who was serving the warrant, they were treating them like, like they basically treating them with kid gloves. I thought at one point they were going to go walk the couple's dog for them. I mean, all the lip that they got and all the attitude, yeah. But I tell you one thing. Again, we didn't have body cameras when I was around. And I don't know if that played a part in why they handle them that way, because it's a slippery slope. But I wouldn't have put up with that nonsense. And to be quite honest, even with a body cam, I wouldn't have either. I wouldn't have put up with it. I would not have all. That's why I say it's very important for us to get into law enforcement, really. But this one, like I said, this was interesting to me because we are fresh off the Nesto stuff, and listening to or looking at what's going on down in Atlanta, it made me dig a little deeper. So I was looking at the car theft rings and things that are going on down in Atlanta, and it is deep. Honestly, that was a city I used to love, and I don't even really want to go down there now. Like you said, it seems like they're full of scammers, and there's a lot of car thefts going on, a lot of car theft rings, and they're stealing these cars, and they are even shipping them overseas. So literally, if you have a luxury vehicle, it might be gone in a heartbeat. This one couple pulled up to the hotel, and I forgot what kind of car they had. It was a luxury car, and I think it might have been a Bentley. And they looked at the footage because when they were leaving the hotel, the car was gone. So they looked at the security footage, and come to find out the valet, no sooner than they handed the keys to the valet, another car pulls up, and the valet driver gives the keys to this person who jumps in the car and basically makes off with their car. So it's deep. They got valets in on it. And just when you even though you pull up to a reputable hotel, the valet driver is getting money to basically steal your car. So it's just not it's crazy. So maybe Shirley does have a point. Maybe Nesto's elite security was needed. Even though Nesto probably would have stole your car, but it's deep. So that's pretty much all I had today. Thanks for all of you guys who stuck around. Latoya and I said what I said. You ladies, you ladies held it down. And anybody in the bushes, if you've been here for the whole time, I do appreciate it. While I get better at doing this, it gives me a reason to get up in the morning. And look, we are looks like we've been going for about 2 hours. It don't seem like it. But I will be back tomorrow, and try to get the hang of this thing, getting more comfortable. So please join me tomorrow. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel. And Latoya, you know I call you the hardest working moderator out here on these YouTube streets. So you don't be surprised if you come here tomorrow and you see you have a wrench. Okay. And I said what I said. You always are holding it down. I think you could be my co-host. What do you think? I think I might just like open up the put a link up here and say, I said what I said. Jump on here. Come talk me through all of this mess, especially when we're going through the Nesto footage, because I love your perspective. And I think too, you might do pretty good with a wrench yourself. It's not hard, and you're not obligated. Latoya would tell you I think she's Latoya. How many people do you mod for? I know I right now I am modded for two, actually three. I'm a mod at Real Talk, Bougie, Tasha TMR. Um, no, I'm just down to two because I was with Sofa Time with Kels, but she's no longer on the scene. But yeah, the mod stick it's pretty interesting. You get to see some things like some comments that don't make it, and some of them deservingly don't make it. But some of them you're like, why is this being flagged? But yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end it here. And I think this was pretty successful. And I'll be back doing it again tomorrow. We'll pick up with part 5. So you said you'll moderate for me. So you do are you so wait a minute, what does it say here? Sure, I'll moderate for you. You moderate for one new channel? Yeah, I'll go ahead. I think I can do it. I don't know if I can do it from here. No, I got to do it over in the YouTube studio. So I'll make sure I'll go over there and I'll give you ladies a wrench. Like I said, Latoy, if there is like an award to be given out for moderating, I'll drop into somebody's chat that I haven't really been like to their live, and your name will pop up in blue. I'm like, this lady's a mod everywhere. Let's see. All right, so I am going to go ahead and end it. And like I said, I'll do part 5. This is the Steve and Shirley part of it. And I'll take all you guys' advice moving forward with the content. I think I'm going to stay away from the Diddy stuff. And I am not surprised. I'm not surprised that Steve strikes channel. I know he does because I think with SC Berry, if you've ever watched her content, I think she says that he's always after her, but I kind of side eye her. I kind of side eye her. So until tomorrow, ladies, unless Lady T Bugs goes live, Latoya, and I said what I said. I will see you guys over there. And if anybody else like Shan or Vicky are still here, I know you guys, we usually hang out there and have a good time. And oh, so you decided to come back, Lady T Bug. Oh, I know you're probably at work, but I was here fumbling and bumbling around and learning the lay of the land. But I'll be back tomorrow. And again, I'm doing this, like I said, I'll be doing this in the morning time because number one, I'm trying to force myself to get up earlier. And two, I find the evenings are a little tricky because, of course, I'm moving around doing a lot of other stuff, but also um, it just seems like it gets kind of crowded in the live space, which really shouldn't be a problem for me because we just kind of carve out our own little territory. We kind of carve out our own little community. So again, this channel is going to be about the things that I watch. And to be quite honest, right now, what I'm finding most interesting, the things that if I look through my history, I'm watching things like the Ernesto Williams saga. I am watching like true crime stories. I'm watching judges, and I just find that to be very interesting. And yeah, let me go ahead and stop before I keep rambling. And of course, the more I read the comments, I'm going to keep rambling. Let me see. What are you saying, Lady T Bug? We need to talk about Dalton. That's our homework. Yeah, I noticed there is a channel. I don't know if you're familiar with it. I forgot what it's called, but they're staying on her neck. They go to all of the meetings, and I think they come on late at night. But people got a lot to say. just in general. And a lot of people from Dalton seem to be chiming in, which that's the most important thing. So, and you said, I said what I said, no, keep it at 10. I sleep late. You know, it's funny that you say 10 is late. 10 is early for me. Oh my God. And now I'm hoping it becomes late because I was able to go to bed last night. I was up. I think I only had maybe about 4 hours of sleep because I knew I had to get up for my premiere. But I'm hoping to make this a habit because I like rising with the day on the times when I have to adjust my schedule and get up early in the morning. I do like the early mornings. I like the birds chirping and how quiet everything is. So if it's not 10 tomorrow, it will be between 10 and 11. Actually, I'm thinking 11 might be my sweet spot. So I'll go ahead and end this live and I will talk to you guys later. And I will do my homework, Lady T Bug. I'll get caught up on everything that's happening over there in good old Dalton. And until next time, I'll see you guys later. Bye now.